Another training camp practice is in the books for the New York Jets, and quarterback Justin Fields continues to struggle. Is it time for New York Jet fans to panic? We'll talk about that and much more, all coming up here on a Tuesday edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, joined by the great Antwan Staley, Jets beat reporter for the New York Daily News, right after this, baby. Let's go.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic, Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
What is going on, New York Jet fans? Hello, everyone, and welcome back here right into another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, coming to you guys live right here on this Tuesday evening, August 5th, 2025. Make sure you smash that like button and hit subscribe on your way into the building. It's completely free, and it helps us grow significantly right here on the channel. Thank you so much for all your support right here on the show. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw all of those in the chat. You guys can call into the show with the pinned comment at the top of the chat. Super chats, memberships, they get you raffle entries. Membership raffle occurring on August 15th. We'll give you more info about that later. Appreciate all your support as always right here. Connor along with you guys on NY Flight Jets Talk. And joining me right now here on this beautiful Tuesday evening, friend of the show, the great Antwan Staley, Jets beat reporter for the New York Daily News. Antwan, great to be back with you, my friend. Been a little bit since we last spoke. I think last time we did the episode was around draft time. So super happy to be with you on the show, and we got a lot to get into because it seems that some Jet fans are beginning to panic with some of the reports coming out of Florham Park.
Panic? Like I know I didn't hardly even notice, so I didn't notice at all.
Exactly. Yeah, you're only at every training camp practice. You only cover the team on Twitter. You have no idea what this fan base is saying, right, Antwan?
Not at all. Not at all.
Exactly. And someone a lot of fans have been panicking about over these past few days, Antwan, is Justin Fields. We see all the stat lines going across Twitter. I think Connor Hughes put out a stat over the past few practices. Fields has completed less than 35% of his passes. When do you think is it time for Jet fans to start to grow concerned with Fields? Have you been concerned with what you guys have seen out of Justin Fields? When is it time for fans to push the panic button here?
I mean, mildly concerned, but not necessarily ready to push the panic button. But also, you want to know where the panic button is right about now, I guess. Not necessarily because you need it right now, but just because it's just good to know where it is because, he hasn't been playing very well. I mean, I think his best practice in the last week came without pads. It was sometime last week. I think it was last Friday, I want to say. I talked about that too. And then, padded practice have not been great. You go back to the scrimmage, he was 2 for 10 that day. He did scramble for a couple of touchdowns there. Struggled on Monday, struggled on Tuesday. So, yeah, I mean, it's a little bit alarming, but also you have to take into account that he is learning a new offense. Like, I think this is his 4th or 5th our new offense in, so many years. He's getting to know new weapons, new coaching staff, things of that nature too. So, yeah, it takes some time for all that to kind of, develop there too as well. And also they hadn't played any preseason games. So I did ask him point blank, would he prefer to play in, all 3 preseason games? And he said, yeah, we feel like the team that needs time. He also pointed out that Tanner Estran, who is a first-year offensive coordinator, also needs to get into a little bit of rhythm, and I do agree with that too as well. I don't know if he'll play against Green Bay simply because his toe is still swollen. So if anything, I'm a proponent that if one first preseason game, if anything is wrong with the starter, do not play them whatsoever. So I probably wouldn't play him in the first preseason game. I think the determiner is going to be next week with the Giants and the joint practices back to back, one in Florham Park, the other one in East Rutherford. If he doesn't perform well there, then I think that in that case, then you start to push a little bit of the get ready to push the panic button a little bit. But right now, yeah, I still think it's early on in training camp. This is the 3rd week, so yeah, I'm not going to go too crazy over it. Although Jet fans are known to crash out about that from
maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, but I wouldn't push the panic button just yet.
A bright spot of this team's offense, though, Antwan, has been the rushing attack. And Aaron Glenn, since the first time he really spoke to you guys this year at the owners' meetings, he's made it clear that this team is going to take a running back by committee approach. what does the Jets' share of carries look like in the backfield this season? Obviously, covering a few training camp practices myself, Braylon Allen is someone who has really stuck out to me for the Jets. What does this carry share look like in the backfield for Gang Green this season?
I don't know a specific number as far as percentage, but I think obviously, you look at Detroit and what they were able to do as far as David Montgomery and also Gibbs too as well, and the way that they kind of split up those carries, and they're one of the best running back tandems in football. I think in this case, especially considering the Jets' lack of a wide receiver too, or just whatever you might think as far as like a legit threat. You might have Breece Hall, line up, as a wide receiver from time to time too. Just because he's not in the backfield doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to use him. I just think they may use him in a variety of different ways. So yeah, I don't have a percentage on it because it's hard to say that, and he's not going to give us one either. So, but I think it'll be mostly Breece, but you also see some Braylon Allen, also see some Isaiah Davis, who's also performed well in training camp too, and it's not a bad problem to have either.
Absolutely. This team, though, Antwan, over the past few practices, obviously, gradually, Aaron Glenn spoke to you guys about it. Gradually, when you put pads on, there are going to be more injuries. When you have more physical practices, there are going to be injuries. And this team has dealt with a handful of injuries over the past few practices. The injury reports beginning to pile up in Florham Park. And earlier today, head coach Aaron Glenn provided some updates on injuries that have occurred for the Jets. Take a listen, folks.
On the injury front, we had about 5 guys of note that I want to make sure I talk about. First is Byron Coward. He has an ankle injury. He did that in the endo. AZ trying to break up a pass. He fell on the shoulder. Will in endo had back spasms. All right, so further evaluation on that. Mason Taylor has an high ankle, so he'll be out this week. And Tyrod actually has a knee. All right, and we're still evaluating him. So we'll see how those injuries are, and I'll get back with you guys and make sure I give you more information on that. But that's for today.
You heard it there from Aaron Glenn, Antwan. Any of these injuries, do you think Jet fans should be concerned about? I know Mason Taylor is dealing with a high ankle sprain, and he's expected to miss at least 1 week. Should Jet fans be concerned with any of those injuries we just heard Aaron Glenn?
I mean, it's not to mention Quentin Williams is also out.
Calf.
He's dealing with a calf injury, and also John Simpson is also dealing with a back injury too as well. So obviously, I would say calf injuries are very tricky. So Quentin's like, especially, you look at it from the basketball perspective, like, you see all these guys have calf injuries and they get rushed back too quickly. And, I think, you're a little bit concerned because it is a calf injury, but I think the Jets are going to be precautious and just not rush Quentin. I don't think Quentin necessarily needs to play in any kind of preseason games. I mean, he's a veteran. He's the second longest tenured player on the Jets roster. So, yeah, if he doesn't play in the preseason, I don't think it's a big deal there. So just rest the calf, just get him ready, is prepared for week 1. Mason Taylor, it depends how long he might be out. It could be a week. It could be like high ankle sprains are tricky. Like it could be a week or 2. It could be, it could be a month, so, I think that is a little bit concerning considering, the fact the offense is struggling out there and, the fact that you don't have Mason Taylor out there, who I think who could potentially have a big year. Yeah, that is a little bit concerning there. But I guess, you're early enough in training camp where these guys still have some time to heal. But yeah, I think the high ankle sprain can definitely be a little bit tricky. Everything else, it seems like it's Tyrod, we'll see. Like knee is also tricky and he's older. So, but Aaron Glenn didn't seem too concerned about it.
By the way, Antwan, I know it's the unofficial depth chart, but Jeremy Ruckert over Mason Taylor. Give me a break here.
Well, you have to let the rookie earn it. Like that's the whole thing.
I get it, but I mean, have you Jeremy Ruckert at practice? Didn't you have another drop today? Two drops that led into an interception. Like I understand letting the rookie earn it, but I mean, how I don't understand putting Mason Taylor has clearly outperformed him. I love breeding competition, but when it gets to the point that you put clearly the worst player the worst player at the position group in training camp over someone who's risen to the occasion, someone who you drafted in the second round of this year's draft. I think that's pushing it a little bit with Aaron Glenn.
I mean, maybe, but also like, Rutgers is a veteran, like he is in the league a little bit. So, it'll all play out, if, Mason Taylor does come back and play in some preseason games and perform the way he's supposed to, then like I say, he's going to start. Like, I don't think there's any doubt about it. But if he's out, any extended period of time, then it's kind of a moot point anyway. Because Jeremy Rucker will be end up one starting him or Smart too. So Stone Smart. So I definitely think Mason Taylor is going to eventually be the starting tight end. I think we all know that, but I don't think they're in any rush to just give him the number one spot on the depth chart as of yet.
Staying with the topic of this unofficial depth chart released by the New York Jets, something that was a surprise to me, Antwan, is we did actually see Malachi Corley. If this depth chart was a 53-man roster, he would have cracked the 53-man roster. He's someone who's been a little inconsistent throughout training camp. Obviously, entering the summer, it was pretty much made clear that he is on the roster bubble. Is Malachi Corley a part of this team post-cutdown day?
He is not on my projections as far as roster. So, and I think you'd be hard pressed to ask anybody or the other reporters the same thing, and they probably say something similar too. I mean, he missed all of basically all of the spring practices, and he hasn't. I mean, he's made some plays there, but I don't think nearly enough as some of the other wide receivers there. So, I mean, they didn't take him. Like, they don't owe him anything. So, I mean, it's just the fact that, he got drafted in the third round by the previous regime. So, he's going to have to show a lot, because I think you have other wide receivers that are ahead of him too as well. When you talk about Brandon Smith, when you talk about, Arian Smith too as well. And, obviously.
What about Pritchett?
What'd you say?
What about Jamal Pritchett?
I think he is a special teams guy that could potentially crack the roster, but as far as a wide receiver, maybe, he's kind of on that same level as maybe Pritchard right now. But Pritchard has the special teams flexibility, so I think that also gives him an advantage too. So, I mean, I think he has an uphill battle, to be quite honest with you. Not saying it can't happen, but he's really gonna have to show out a lot in these 3 season games in order to make the team. Otherwise, like he might be, competing for a practice squad spot or somebody or a spot on somebody else's roster.
Defensively, Antwan, who's the defensive tackle on the inside with Quinnen Williams against the Pittsburgh Steelers September 7th.
Well, we'll see. I think Coward has been doing really well too. So I probably would lean towards him, but it's been an open battle so far. So I don't think we have one particular guy that's, stood out among the rest. There's been a few guys there that's kind of, buying for time there. I know Leonard Taylor made it play today too as well. So it's a lot of guys there. That obviously Quentin being out, that gives them even more an opportunity to kind of showcase themselves too as well. That's where you're gonna have those preseason games are gonna count too, because I think it's gonna be a rotation of guys that I don't think it's gonna be one set guy there. I think it's gonna be a rotation of guys that they use next to Quentin.
I wrote it up for Jets X Factor earlier today. Antwan, Allen Lazard speaking to you guys today, denied that whoever's been under center has not impacted his production at the wide receiver position, and he can make plays no matter who's under center. The stats would contradict that. However, Aaron Glenn has praised Allen Lazard all offseason long. It doesn't sound like that he'll be going anywhere. What does his role look like on this team as it stands? Can he enter the year as wide receiver 2 on this depth chart?
Could he? Yeah, he could. Right now I wouldn't put him there, but he could. I think the problem they have is they have a lot of receivers that kind of do a similar thing, like the big body receivers that are not necessarily, very fast. And, you got Josh Reynolds, the same as Allen Lazard. So I would put him probably like 34. Honestly, I kind of want to not put him on my roster projections, to be honest with you. He hasn't been great, to be quite honest with you. I mean, I think the main reason why you would put him on there is because he's a veteran and they need help at the wide receiving position. But again, like, he's also going to be somebody that's going to have to show some things in preseason games just to, warrant that spot too. Because otherwise, especially considering the Jets are a bit of a youth movement, why not just throw a young guy in there, just kind of see what he can do? Or also, it's always going to be people that's going to become available on final cut. So that's also something to keep in mind.
My mind, Antwan, goes to Quentin Skinner, someone who's young, UDFA out of Kansas, similar size, 6'5" frame, a lot faster than Lazard, way more explosive. Like, you're trying to continue this youth movement. I think you replace someone like Allen Lazard. The Jets have showed they're trying to turn the page of anything having to do with Aaron Rodgers. Well, I think getting Lazard out of the building also follows that blueprint as well. But Would you say he's a lock for the roster right now, Antwan? Are you still hesitant to say that?
Lazard, yeah, I'm hesitant to say that, but I think he probably will be as of now. But I'm not sure I'm going to put him on my roster projections as of now. But we'll see. Like it could go either way. But right now, I probably think he would make the team.
Appreciate you all tuning in right here on NY Flight Jets Talk. Make sure you smash the like button and hit subscribe, completely free, and helps us grow significantly here on the show. Questions, comments, thoughts, throw those in the chat. We're going to get to those. Call into the show with the pinned comment. Super chats, memberships, they get you raffle entries right here on the show. Our guy, Jake Asman, baby, comes in with 5 gifted memberships. Shout out to you, Jake. Appreciate your support. Appreciate you dropping in, gifting 5 subs. As always, my friend, 5 entries for you. Thank you for all your support as always. Always love hopping on with you on the Jake Asman Show. Appreciate you always giving me the opportunity to fill in. Thank you for the 5 gifted memberships, my friend. Jack Talks Jets says, Antwan, do you believe the true wide receiver 2 is on the team right now, or do we get somebody before week 1?
In terms of title, yeah. I mean, they're gonna have to pick somebody. In terms of wide receiver threat, that remains to be seen because I think some of the guys that's on the roster right now, when you talk about Tyler Johnson or you talk about Josh Reynolds, like they've lacked separation from time to time, and I think also like that. Not saying that's been the big problem with Justin Fields. Like I think it's more or less like him not completing not being accurate. Like first and foremost, but it certainly doesn't help when Mason Taylor's not out there.
Yeah,
You don't really have a guy that can out separate consistently outside of Garrett. So I mean, yeah, they're gonna have to pick somebody, but I don't have as of right now. I don't necessarily know if I have the confidence, to say that they have that true threat at the wide receiver 2 position. Maybe Arian can do it, but I don't know if you want to put a young rookie out there at wide receiver 2.
A 4th round pick. It's not like you selected a high. It's not like you took Matthew Golden or a Mecca
Or Travis Hunter or somebody like that.
exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if you want to do that at least that early into his career. So as to answer your question, probably not. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they were just scour the waiver wires potentially if something that would have come about. But I don't. Some people were talking about Keenan Allen before he got signed by the Chargers. I never really thought that was an option because of his age. Amari Cooper's still out there. He's older too as well.
I just dropped him on my dynasty team. I think he's done. I mean,
I think he'll play somewhere, but
in what role?
Yeah, but definitely not something that the Jets are looking at.
Absolutely. I mean, someone I look at is Tyler Johnson. He's someone who's flashed and shown pretty much a high caliber skill set in minimal opportunities throughout his 6 years, I think it is, in the NFL. I'm turning to a guy at him, maybe not to be the true wide receiver 2 on this team, but someone who I think can emerge in a prominent role in this team's passing attack. Do you think Josh Reynolds is that guy right now? If you had to make a prediction today?
Yeah, he's the wide receiver too. Yeah, he would be who I would pick as of right now. Somebody they have confidence in, a veteran, big body, so they feel like he complements really well with Garrett Wilson. So yeah, that would be my answer at the moment.
John, Antwan, from what you have seen, has Breece Hall distinguished himself as the undisputed lead running back, or has Allen and Davis look just as good as Breece? I say we trade Breece before the deadline.
I'll answer the first question. I mean, I'll answer the last question first. Like I think, depending on how the record is, come the trading deadline. I mean, it could be a possibility. You could have a team that maybe needs some running back help too. The Jets are out of it, and maybe you can get a good 4th, 3rd round pick potentially for Breece Hall, somebody that I think a lot of people had high hopes for and still do have high hopes for. Somebody that can catch the ball out the backfield, a fluid runner too as well, has all the skill set to be I think one of the top running backs in the league, but it just hasn't worked out for one reason or another. So yeah, I definitely think that that's what I would say as far as Breece Hall. I would say I don't think he's done a whole lot as far as separating himself in terms of the other running backs, but at the same time, I think Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis have had tremendous counts. So that I think the Jets are in a good position where they have 3 running backs if need be that they can all play and contribute.
JC says, Antwan, how many carries do you see Isaiah Davis getting per game?
I mean, it could vary. I mean, it depends on I would say maybe like 5 or 6, maybe because you got running backs like you got Braylon Allen, you got Breece Hall too as well, depending on how those guys are utilized. So maybe upwards to like 5 or 6, maybe. But yeah, I definitely think he'll get more burn than what he did a year ago.
He was so efficient last year, Antwan. I want to see more of him, but at the same time, I always come back when you talk about utilizing multiple running backs. I just think Braylon Allen's skill set and his 240-pound frame complements Justin Fields a lot better than a Isaiah Davis does. So I like the efficiency there. I like the upside as a pass catcher as well. I just think, you have a better complement in Braylon Allen ahead of him on the depth chart, and that's just more of a scheme fit, in my opinion. JCL says, also, I have the Bengals game circled. Do you think we have any chance of winning? Is that one of your 5 or 6 wins, Antwan, this season?
They're at Cincinnati, so no, I don't like. And then also, I'll say that the Bengals have a problem stopping teams. So you have an opportunity there, but the problem is they probably got to score 35 points to beat them.
Yep.
So, and I personally don't have confidence that the Jets can do
So I'm
that.
assuming you have the Jets beating the Ravens in Baltimore too, right?
What's that?
I was joking. I said I'm assuming you have the Jets beating the Ravens in Baltimore.
I do not. I definitely do not. Like, although
That is,
I do think they're gonna get some wins in the back half of the schedule, but that's not one of them.
that's a game I'm circling where that can literally be like a 40-3 game or something like that if the defense doesn't have a good day, like against Lamar Jackson, against that the overall defense too. Like that's a game that can go really bad.
Let's hope not, because that'll be a long train ride back up here at the Jersey. So,
Oh.
but
Oh,
yeah,
you're taking the train.
yeah. Yeah, you might as well, because no, like logistics, like it just makes more sense to take a train as opposed to flights. It's kind of hard to Baltimore, so yeah, train is probably the best way to go, and I can work on the train too, so that also helps.
Kyle Clifton says RELAX, relax, says Aaron Rodgers. Antwan, Jet fans can't really relax throughout training camp, especially when they're not, not off to one of the best starts.
They could be off to one of the best. They had, training camp last year was definitely a different vibe, and they were still arguing about something. So, they'll find something to complain about. I'm sure. Like I have no doubt about that.
JC, who do you think the 6 to 7 wins will be against, or however many? Who do you see the wins coming against here?
I have to look at the schedule now. Carolina. I guess I have to New Orleans. I think they'll split with the Dolphins. I think the Patriots. I'll give them one of the Patriots games too. I'll give them one of the Patriots games. Who else on there? I'll go with the Broncos.
Okay, in London, there we go.
Yeah, I'll go with the Broncos, and then one more.
Bills week 18.
Let's take the Falcons. No, absolutely not. The last game in Buffalo. No, absolutely not.
But what if they're winning the division? What if they've rested their starters?
They hate the Jets. They are going to and I said this last year, the end of the year. I don't care what their record is. They are going to try to bury this team, and that's exactly what they did. So probably not. They probably hate the Jets more than everybody else in that division. So last game, that's the last game in that building.
Oh, that's true as well. Yeah, they were.
I do not get no. I'm not taking them against Buffalo in that situation. Absolutely not.
Interesting. John says, which back end of the? We got you for a couple more minutes here, Antwan, right?
2 more minutes. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Which back end of the roster guy in the secondary has stood out the most? Stickers, Oliver, or JBC?
That would be, I think Oliver's been really good, but Stickers is definitely stood. I actually asked Aaron Glenn about that, and then he pointed out how well he was doing. So they got a lot of tough choices, and as far as choosing the guys out on the cornerback room, because I think a lot of those guys can end up on rosters on other teams, but you can't keep everybody. Yeah. So I also throw out another guy, Jarius Monroe, although he's a safety, but I think he's done a really fantastic job too as well.
Also, with the Chris Boyd injury, by the way, that opens up a huge opportunity for Stiggers to compete for that gunner job as well, because you look at a guy like Irv Charles, who suffered an end of the year pretty serious injury. So the fact that Chris Boyd went down also gives him an opportunity to compete for that role on special teams. Antwan, thank you so much for joining us. Can't thank you enough for spending some time. Any final thoughts, football related, non-football related? What do we have cooking here?
No, just people can find me, at Antwan Staley on all social media platforms. Just my work at New York Daily News and nydailynews.com.
Thank you all for joining us. Make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe. Back tomorrow, 8 p.m. EST, as always. Appreciate all your support, as always, right here on NY Flight Jets Talk. He's Antwan Staley of the New York Daily News. I'm your host, Connor Long, right here on NY Flight Jets Talk. Signing off. Have a great night, everyone. And as always, JTS, Jets, Jets, Jets.